Uniting all generations and types of Mopar fans, lovers, and enthusiasts everywhere, from Walter P. Chrysler to today's Mopar and beyond. This is the Mopar Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm your host, Scott Gresser, Mopar since 1960. And as always, I am ever so grateful you can join me here for episode 4 of the Mopar Podcast. My email is waltparpodcast@aol.com, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Search Walt Par Podcast. I'm recording episode 4 on January 15th, 2024. I was hoping to do this episode before the end of the year, but my wife had a cold on Saturday before Christmas, and I got it Christmas Day, and I was pretty much wiped out in bed all day Christmas Day. So I was unable to do it, but it gave me time to think about how to do the Walt Par Podcast better. As I was preparing episode number 4, if I was able to do a full feature podcast, it would take almost 2 hours. Again, too much time for everybody to listen. So to keep the time limited, I've decided to spread out the Mopar Club Spotlights, feature presentations, and my monologues to do more podcasts and not cram them all into one episode. Of course, all podcasts will still include the latest news from Stellantis and the Mopar Event Calendar. And starting in episode 4, I'm even changing that, where I'm going to have it from being in chronological order to sorting them out by the state. So since I got delayed recording episode 4, I've accumulated another month's full of news. So let's get started on the headlines on the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep brand, Mopar, SRT, and all those brands. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports an all-wheel drive variant of the European JJ Body Jeep Avenger will be offered in the 2025 model year. David Zatz of Stellpower and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, and Ronan Glahn of Autoblog report a certain number of reporting a recall on certain 2023-2024 Ram trucks has been issued. It concerns a faulty printed circuit board that will activate both the high beam headlights and the turn signal, plus the turn signals will not shut off. Please check with your Ram dealership for further details. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports Stellantis and a company named Ample will be working together to provide battery swapping facilities for electric vehicles. No word where the facilities will be built or when. David Zatz of Stellpower and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, report the 2025 Ram 1500 will start being built in February of 2024. This is happening a lot sooner than some thought. So if you want a brand new 2024 Ram 1500 with an e-torque Hemi, you better hurry. And speaking of the 2025 Ram 1500, Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, each have written great articles on the pricing for the 2025 Ram 1500. Now, the amount of price increase, that amount goes higher as you get higher on the trim levels. So in other words, you're going to have a shorter price increase for a tradesman compared to a higher price increase if you ordered a Ram Limited. But both articles from both those great gentlemen will highlight the powertrain choices as well as the tech and standard and optional features. I reported in episode 3 of the Walt Par Podcast, Chrysler has built its final 300C. But Patrick Rawl of Stellpower and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, have found through the Chrysler store on Amazon merchandise that is being sold paying tribute to the 300. Jim Benjaminson of Stellpower reports Bruce Thomas passed away at his home in Michigan at the age of 98. Mr. Thomas joined Chrysler and became an engineer. He worked his way up the corporate ladder and landed a leadership role at Chrysler Australia. When he retired from Chrysler in 1980, Mr. Thomas joined the Transportation Research Center in Marysville, Ohio. He then became curator of the Walter P. Chrysler Museum in its early days. He later then became the curator of the Chrysler Archives until 2020. Mr. Thomas was also a charter member of the Classic Car Club of America. Also in episode 3 of the Walt Par Podcast, David Zatz of Stellpower reported it may be a good time to buy a new Mopar. Well, now Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, is also reporting the same and has the numbers on what's available. Please check out his article at moparinsiders.com. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports Stellantis India will be doing a significant change in its leadership. Deputy Marketing Director and Head of Jeep India, Aditya Jaraj, will become CEO and Marketing Director of Stellantis India, replacing Richard Boshara. Mr. Boshara will be taking on new duties with Stellantis in Europe. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports the Toluca plant in Toluca, Mexico, is celebrating its 55-year anniversary. A lot of different vehicles have been made there, including Plymouth Valiants, Dodge Darts, the JA body Chrysler Cirrus, Plymouth Breeze, Dodge Stratus, the JX body Chrysler Sebring convertibles, Chrysler PT Cruisers, Dodge Journeys, Fiat Fremonts, Plymouth Acclaims, Dodge Spirits, Fiat 500s, and what they are currently building now, it's the Jeep Compass until 2025, when that production will be moving to Brampton, Ontario. One word of note, some of those darts are not the same as what we remember. After they quit making them for the U.S. market in 1976, darts later became based off of other models. In fact, the 1980 Dodge Dart was a Dodge Diplomat body with a Dodge Aspen front end. It's amazing how they do interchange all kinds of things at Chrysler. But that was the 1980 Mexican Dodge Dart. There's pictures out there for you to look at. It's sort of cool to look at. Mark Warman on his Twitter account reports Graveyard Cars will be back with a new season in January on Motor Trend Television. They tweeted on January 5th it will be back on Friday nights at 10, starting January 19th. Motor Trend magazine is celebrating its 75th anniversary. It has now named the Jeep CJ Wrangler as one of the top 10 iconic vehicles. You can vote through a link on the Stellantis North America Facebook page to make it the most iconic vehicle. Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, report that after the premiere of the first battery electric Chrysler vehicle, Chrysler will be giving the Pacifica a makeover for 2025. Robert S. Miller of MoparInsiders.com reports the Brazilian market Ram Rampage, it's a compact truck, has been awarded the Best Car of the World award at the 22nd Annual Top Car TV Awards. Have you heard the term frunk? F-R-U-N-K. It's short for front trunk for electric vehicles. The F-150 Lightning has one, and that's a perfect example. You open up the hood, and where the engine would have been an internal combustion engine, they turn that into a finished trunk, and that's what a frunk is. And Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports that the new LB body Dodge Charger Daytona, the electric-powered ones, will be equipped with a frunk. The grand prize winner of the Stellantis National Sweepstakes for 2022 has been announced. Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports Bonnie Wall of Hephzibah, Georgia, was awarded a voucher worth $100,000 to be redeemed towards any eligible Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, or Fiat vehicle. Miss Wall chose a WL74 two-row seater 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee. To enter to get a chance to win the National Sweepstakes, go to FCAEnterToWin.com for more details. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports the Nexstar battery plant being built in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, is now 30% complete. Nexstar is a joint venture of Stellantis and LG Energy Solutions. NHRA.com reports sad news that drag racing pioneer Don Schumacher has passed away from cancer at the age of 79. Mr. Schumacher was a drag racer himself, founded an electric business, and then founded Don Schumacher Racing, which expanded into two more additional businesses, DSM Precision Machining and DSM Performance. Mr. Schumacher has been inducted into multiple Hall of Fames through the years. His race teams have won 19 NHRA championships and 367 victories, including 5 he won himself that when he was driving a funny car. Mr. Schumacher was also a creator in many safety innovations, And through sponsorships and promotions, Mr. Schumacher was a huge brand ambassador for Mopar. Patrick Rawl of Stel Power and Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders report full-time workers are slowly but surely returning to work at the Belvedere plant in Illinois. 165 workers are getting trained to work in a parts warehouse and then be moved into a mega parts hub depot that will replace the Chicago Parts Depot. Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports an electric Fiat Doblo van has been unveiled in Europe. Now, the Doblo is the vehicle the Ram ProMaster City is based on. Now, they don't make the Ram ProMaster City in the U.S. anymore. But we'll have to keep an eye out on this to see if the electrified version comes to North America. Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports that 2023 and 2024 Pacifica minivans have earned a top safety pick from the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety. Now, while we knew it would have to come sometime, and it still hits us all hard with sadness, but Patrick Rawl of Stel Power, Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders, and Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog report the last modern Mopar has been produced at the Brampton, Ontario, Canada assembly plant. The final vehicle that pulled off the line towards the end of the year was a pitch black Challenger SRT Demon 170. David Zatz of Stel Power reports Cummins Engine Corporation will be paying $1.7 billion to the U.S. federal government for installing emission-controlled defeat devices on engines that were installed on 2013 through 2019 Ram trucks. Cummins will also be putting an additional $2 billion in reserve for the next quarter to cover expenses. Also, David Zatz of Stel Power and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, and Autoblog pulling an article from the Associated Press all report the U.S. Department of Justice will have Cummins Incorporated pay over $2 billion in penalties for emissions cheating devices they installed on engines that were on the 2013 through 2019 Ram trucks. Plus, Cummins themselves must recall 600,000 Ram vehicles that are now non-compliant. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports that this stupid cursor, there we go. Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports the Ram Rampage, built and sold in Brazil, will be using Chat GTP technology for customer service. It will be answering consumer questions through their WhatsApp account. Mopar Collectors Magazine sadly reports on their Instagram account Mopar Action Magazine has been shut down in late November. The last issue will be the February 2024 edition. More on this will be published in the March 2024 edition of Mopar Collector's Guide magazine. Patrick Rawl of Stel Power, the Beard himself, has written a thorough article on how many Challenger SRT Demon 170s were made, sales figures on color, option, and wheels. Please check out the entire article at stelpower.com. Robert S. Miller, MoparInsiders.com reports the Jeep Commander that is sold in South America will be receiving the 2.0-liter Hurricane engine in its higher-end models. Other small changes will happen as well. The global small platform 1.3-liter four-cylinder engine will still power the lower-priced models. Now, Jeep continues to do well in Brazil. The Commander leads in the large SUV category, while the Compass leads in the medium SUV category. One thing I want you to remember, the Commander that is now sold in India, China, and Brazil is not the large XK body Commander that was sold here in the U.S. in 2006 through 2010. The Commander of today is more or less an extended Compass. And finally, speaking on the Commander, in Brazil, they built their 50,000th Commander, and that was done at the end of December 2023. The 50,000th Commander has been built, and they keep on building them too. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders reports the Ram 700 that is sold in 6 countries in Central and South America will be receiving some changes. These changes will mirror what was done earlier to the Fiat Strada, on which the Ram 700 is based on. NHRA.com reports some other tragic news that legendary car builder Roland Leong has passed away. Roland was a successful builder of the Hawaiian drag cars. A lot of them were Mopars. Roland was experiencing declining health and had passed away at age 79. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports that Jeep has applied with the U.S. Patent Office the Nighthawk name. It is unknown at this time what it will be used for. Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog reports there will be some hefty price increases on both the Dodge Durango and Jeep Wrangler for the 2024 model year. To see how much, please go to Autoblog.com. And also, Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, also has a report on the 2024 Durango prices and other changes. Patrick Rawls, Stellpower, reports, and this is sort of a good heartwarming story here. An active duty soldier special ordered a 2023 SRT Demon 170. The dealership he ordered it from sold it to another person for a higher price. It was unsure at one point where this story went viral. Well, we found out it went viral when Patrick Rawls did some further research on the story, and it turns out YouTuber Butter the Insider, that's Butter, D-A, and then Insider, was tagged by several people, and he or she decided to do something about it. He only stuck with the facts, didn't really advance an agenda or anything, but sticking with the facts. He got in touch with Dodge President Tim Kuniskis and said, and this is how the ball got rolling, and what happened was when Tim Kuniskis and the Brotherhood of Muscle found out, they did do something about it. Now, while this was going on, the person who purchased the car found out what was going on, and he or she felt bad about it, was willing to sell the car back. But that was not going to happen because the soldier special ordered a car which should be brand new, and if this person was to sell this car back, then the soldier would have had a used car. But in the end, the soldier will be getting his new car, and they're going to take care of that for him. So that's what happened. It's all good. Patrick Rawls' follow-up article was released January 4th on StellPower.com. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, and Chris Teague of Autoblog report a prototype EV caught on fire in November of 2023 at the Chrysler Tech Center in Auburn Hills, Michigan. No injuries were reported. David Zatz of Stellpower and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders report, due to falling Jeep and Ram sales and demand, Stellantis North America is dropping its marketing budget and will not be at the Chicago Auto Show or the Houston Auto Show or any other regional events for right now. As far as any other shows coming up, Stellantis North America will make a determination if they will attend on a case-by-case basis. And just coming in, David Zatz of Stellpower reports Camp Jeep will be at the New York Auto Show. Now, there was a drop in sales for Stellantis in both the fourth quarter and year-end loss figures. They were not good, but there were some bright spots, though, because David Zatz of Stellpower reports there were some bright spots. The former FCA brands had a 47% share of the hybrid market. Jeep Grand Cherokee and Jeep Compass had sales increases. The Ram ProMaster sales rose 34%, thanks in part to a fleet sale to Amazon. When it came to the so-called car market, while the Mustang outsold the Challenger in the fourth quarter, more Dodges were sold than Ford. And Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, also did a report on the Mustang beating or outselling the Challenger. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, announced the Rampage Ram truck, compact truck that's made and sold in Brazil, will now be sold in Argentina. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, and Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog report the DS-bodied Ram 1500 Classic will be offered again in the 2024 model year. Double-check the Ram truck's website for model, powertrain, and availability. David Zatz of Stellpower pulled an article from Reuters And Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders report that Stellantis and General Motors will not be running any advertising on the 2024 Super Bowl game. Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders reports sales of Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams in Canada were also way down. Find out more in detail at moparinsiders.com. Have you heard of the Jeep Renegade 4xe? Well, they made them in Europe for the European market. And Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports that production has stopped on the Renegade 4xe. And speaking of the European Jeep Renegade, David Zatz of Stellpower and Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders report that the Renegade will be getting an update as it's celebrating its 10-year anniversary in Europe. Remember, they're not selling them anymore in the United States. What's left on the lots at the dealerships, that's it. And because the sales were sort of down, although they were good in South America, Mexico, and Europe, they weren't that good in the USA and Canada, and they were only within $500 of a Compass. So they decided to not sell the Renegade anymore in USA or Canada. At least someone had a good fourth quarter result, though, from Stellantis. Stellantis Mexico had a 30% increase in sales for 2023. And finally, in the news, Zach Palmer of Autoblog, Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders, and David Zatz of Stellpower all report there will be last call editions of the Hemi-powered Dodge Durango coming out for the 2024 model year. The first last call will be the ALC Hemi. Please read their articles to find out more. For the links I used in this episode to these stories and more, make sure you go to autoblog.com, stellpower.com, moparinsiders.com, nhra.com, and moparcollectorsguide.com. Have you ever thought you wanted to start your own podcast? It's easier than you think, and it's very financial friendly too. Podcasters for Spotify gives you a nice, easy way to get into podcasting. You think you don't know how to speak? Just remember, you speak a lot better when you talk about something you're impassioned about. So pick your subject. It doesn't matter what it is. There's someone out there who wants to hear your voice. There's all kinds of videos to get you started. All you need really if you want to start out is just your smartphone. And you can take it from there through the Spotify app. Podcasters for Spotify helps you get going, and you get to do it for free. There's some famous people out there who use it. Why not you? Go to podcasters.spotify.com for more information and get you started on your first podcast and even more. I'm doing number 4 right now, and I don't have a lot of expensive equipment. So get your podcast out today. Podcasters.spotify.com. Now, the car club I belong to, the Mid-Ohio Mopars, had their Christmas party in early December. So I thought, since I want to do these car club spotlights, I thought it would be a good time to do the first one with the Mid-Ohio Mopars at our Christmas party. So I was able to get together Carol Goodrich, Tom and Sharon Potter, who were there at the very beginning, and we had a nice conversation. Now, in advance, please forgive me. I'm still on a huge learning curve trying to give you a quality podcast. I had a slight interruption while I was recording the interview, but here it is, and I hope you enjoy it very, very much. So here's the interview from the Mid-Ohio Mopars. And as promised from episode 2, it's now time for the club highlights. So no easier one to get started to highlight the many Mopar clubs that are throughout the world than to do the one I belong to, which is the Mid-Ohio Mopars, located in Worcester, Ohio. And today I have with me club founders Carol Goodrich, Sharon, and Tom Potter with me today. They're still with the club from day one. I came about a year later or so, and then we just took off from there. I was gone for a while, moved back to Ohio, moved down to Worcester, rejoined the club again back in 2016. So, okay, what? So, while these people are here today, I do want to say this for starters. The club was started by Keith and Pam Zanoni, Dave and Carol Goodrich. Dave is is the late husband of Carol, who we have here today, and Tom and Sharon Potter, and Eric Steinman. So those are the people who started the club. So whoever wants to start, my first question is, what was going on that made you even think about starting a club? Was it you saw Mopars different places, lack of Mopars, where are they at to get together, wanted to do something together, anything like that? If you know what I mean. Just even before you even started a club, what was going on before you even thought about getting the club started? Who wants to start?
I will go ahead. All right, this is Carol. Those of us that Scott mentioned, we used to meet in downtown Worcester or around the Wayne County area at various cruise-in spots, and there were a lot of Mopars that showed up, and so we just started tossing around the idea of starting our own Mopar Club, and that's how it all came about.
Okay, so pretty much areas. Now, by the way, for people that don't know, Worcester, Ohio, where we're at right now, we're at the Mid-Ohio Mopars Christmas party, and Worcester is in Wayne County in Ohio, which is about 50 miles south of Cleveland. So you basically started the idea, maybe you'd like to get together as a club. Okay, then now once you thought of that, what did you want to do to maybe get it going? Who did you talk to get it going?
Well, what we did, Tom and I had gone down to
Mopar Nationals.
Mopar Nationals. This was the first time we'd ever had our car to a show.
And tell the people what kind of car you have.
We have a 1970 Dodge Coronet Super B, 446-pack 4-speed.
And
Original car, original owner.
yes, that's why I want to make sure you got that in there. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and when we were down there, we met Pam and Keith Zanoni and found out they were from Worcester also. Well, we really didn't talk much about Car Club at that time, but when we came home, we were downtown at the Cruise Inn, and Pam and Keith happened to see us sitting at the one spot, and we got to talking about the cars and how many Mopars there were here around Worcester area. And in all the talking, we just decided we need to get a Mopar club started in our area. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then got together with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you got together. Can you remember what was discussed? How to organize, or what was the next step?
As I recall, we sent out letters. A lot of it was just, we had heard, okay, I know these guys that would be interested. Everybody knew someone else or several someone else's. I don't know if we did mail letters or if we just did, maybe we made flyers to hand out at the cruise-ins.
Okay, before you go any further, so everybody knows, this is clear back in either 1989 or 1990. So people who are used to doing emails and everything else, that stuff wasn't even out yet. So
Actually, it was 90 and 91.
1991, okay. But just so people get an idea why you did what you did. Yes, for the technology.
So we chose a spot in the Worcester area, and I don't remember exactly how many people showed up to our first official meeting, but we had a very good turnout.
We did.
And a lot of those people that came and joined right from the beginning are still charter members, have been with us all those years. We've lost a few over the years, but that's to be expected. So it's been a very good experience for all of us.
Now, you got the club started. What hurdles did you go through? Because you collect club dues, and we'll go into the show later, but you do other things as well. What did you have to do as a club to be known as a club as far as accounting or anything?
Well, one thing, our logo is registered with Chrysler Corporation, so we had to go through the process to get it registered. And then I believe we used an attorney to set the club up as an official club so that we could collect dues. And we do need to, because we're nonprofit, if we take in less than $50,000 per year, all we have to do is file a postcard saying what it was, and we don't really have to pay taxes in because we're nonprofit.
Okay.
So
So,
it took some effort to, get everything into place, but there were a number of us that worked on it, and it all came together.
now the question I have is this. Maybe we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, but that's okay. It was not originally known as Mid-Ohio Mopars.
No, the official name is Mid-Ohio Mopars. No, I'm sorry, Mid-Ohio Mopar Roadrunners Incorporated, I believe.
Yes, Mid-Ohio, so I knew Roadrunner was in it.
Yes, right, yeah. But our name that we have always used is Mid-Ohio Mopars.
Where did Mid-Ohio Roadrunners come in?
I don't recall, but that is our official name.
Okay.
Pam Zanoni is the one, I believe, that filed all that paperwork. But they're not here, so I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Okay, all right, yeah, and that was a long, long time ago.
It was,
Yeah.
many
Yep.
years.
So now we're the Mid-Ohio Mopars. Now, as you went along, you started organizing meetings. Were they always once a month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they always were.
With the exception of a few holidays and like
Right,
that.
right.
Okay. The Mid-Ohio Mopars every year has had a swap meet, all Mopar swap meet, by the way, which I do have the dates for that. You will hear that in the event calendar. And later on, once we get it, you'll find out when our 33rd annual show is. When we
Yes.
get the dates straight, set up. But was it an idea of a member or a group of you that says we want to do the swap meet in a show, or do the show? Was it, let's do a show first, let's do a swap meet first, or what?
I believe we did a show first, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a show first, and then,
Yeah,
well,
and then-
Eric and Dave come
Yeah.
up with the idea of a swap meet in the spring.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's something that kicked the season off.
Okay. And so the show came first, and if you go to midohiomopars.us on the web or the Facebook page, we do have some pictures from that first show that was held out in the parking lot of Triway High School.
Yes.
Yes. And through the years, any organization, memberships are down, same here, volunteer fire departments, organizations, whatever. We're still going strong. Now, the history of the show itself has been, it was huge, it's kicking back up again in my opinion. We've always been open with what we do with the show. We went through and we put the entire show on ourselves.
Right.
Right.
And I wanted you to tell people, and although the size has changed, and maybe the number of cars has changed, but the way we have to do it has been pretty much the same. And just to show people, or find out people, what it all entails to put on a good car show. Because we do get people from all over the state of Ohio. A couple nearby out-of-staters have come to the show. They've all pretty much left pretty positive. You're going to have a few negatives out there, but what did it take for us to put on our own show?
Thing, somebody to run it.
Yeah.
You need personnel to run it.
Yes.
Because-
Takes a lot of members to pitch
Yeah.
in and volunteer
Members
their
pitching in to
time.
help.
Yeah, because we had to, okay, who's going to head it? Who's going to help with the show? That was the big thing. And
Parking's good.
the parking of the vehicles, because they parked them in classes at that time.
Yeah, the first one.
The first one out at Triway, yes.
And we did park them in classes for a few years.
Yes, several years,
did.
yes.
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 Because every year we did the show, and not so much a swap meet, but every year with the show, it is a continual work in progress.
Yes.
And we do have to review what went right. Even after 32 shows, we still go through what went right and what did not. So we used to park the cars. We even had to make sure we had the food.
Yes, we used to years ago. Always, we purchased the food and we served
Made
it
the food.
cafeteria style, and people could purchase what they wanted, and yes,
Yep.
yeah.
And so as the years evolved by, we found out, and actually it's a pretty good system we have now. Through the years, as the show has evolved, we have done our own shows. Then we were part of another Mopar event where we did the show portion. We went back doing our own show again, and it was in different locations. And now we're back at being part of another event, which last year was part of Mopar Madness at Dragway 42 in West Salem, Ohio. It went very well. It really did.
It did.
And we hope we get to do it again this year, because they handle the food and everything. There's an awful lot involved. This thing, the shows in the past, we would have to plan like 4, 5, 6 months in advance. Because we would have to, and back in the day when we didn't have much email or social media or internet presence, we had to do an awful lot of mailing.
Yeah, right. Our mailing list consisted of right around 1,200 people that we gathered over the years. When people would come to our shows, they would sign up to get mail. So we mailed flyers every year for until about 3 or 4 years ago, when social media became so popular. We don't do any mailing anymore because postage went sky high, and everyone does social media now.
And we do too.
Yes.
In fact, it's saved every time we get a like or whatever, we know that's like sending out a flyer. And it's
Right.
really helped out a lot.
Right.
Which this year will be 7 years. Mid-Ohio Mopars 3 on Facebook, and Mid-Ohio Mopars on Instagram and Twitter. I do have a YouTube set up. We haven't done much with it, and I got to learn how to do that better. So, because I am the social media director of Mid-Ohio Mopars. Swap meet, that was brought up as an idea. That was back before Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and everything else. It was also a time when we first had it, was the fact that in the 90s, as well as the 80s, there was very few places to get parts for the Mopar muscle cars, or actually anything for high performance, and also to restore your car. So swap meets, maybe not as important as they used to be, but they used to be way back when. How many people used to come to that? When we used to have it at the Armory.
Oh, wow. That was in the beginning years.
Right.
There were a lot, but I couldn't
Yes.
tell you how many, but it was popular.
Very.
It was a good turnout always.
Because they came from everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like I said, parts availability was very limited in finding the parts you needed, because there was not a lot of reproduction stuff out there. And so these swap meets were important. We still have it today. I am hoping that in the future, and I did this as advertising last year, is that the 3rd gen Hemis are coming to an end. So please save your parts, come to a swap meet. So, but the swap meet's still going okay.
Yes.
The one thing we've learned the last couple years is that you better get here early on Saturday.
Right.
Because even though we say we're going to be there till 4 o'clock, we really can't, because we're not forcing the vendors to say, you got to stay. If we did that, we probably wouldn't have any
Right.
vendors.
That's
So,
right.
so we've learned to work with them. And so we're telling people now, and this is, like I said, they're always a work in progress. We have to tell people, when it comes Saturday morning, you better get here early.
That's right.
So, but as the I guess the show, it's good that the people get to stay together as they do. Trying to think what other things have happened during the club years that maybe I know I've missed a lot.
Well, I know one year we were up at Summit Racing. We had one of our shows at Summit Racing, and I think we had a spotlight too, didn't we? You remember if we
It was
had
a show at Summit Racing,
Yeah.
and we was at Norwalk a couple times, and we was at 42 a couple times, and of course we had our show here in Worcester, our show at the fairgrounds, and
Yeah, because there were times we had over 200 cars.
Yes.
Easily, yes.
Easily, yeah. I mean,
filled the
we
fairgrounds
were
up pretty
full,
good.
yes.
One of the nice things we've learned is since it's a work in progress is you don't have to park in classes anymore. Just find a place to park and let it rip.
That makes it a lot easier.
Old buddy does it. Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to judging cars.
And people like to park with their friends,
Yes.
you know, and visit while they're at the show, so.
And a lot of those are people who don't want to get their cars judged, but yet they want to be with their friend that does want to be judged.
Right.
So, anything with changes with people or anything through the years that you've noticed? Attitudes or
People
anything?
As far as,
How they view cars today as compared to back then or
Depends on
anything?
their ages.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, because our generation, we're into these cars big time. Some of the younger ones aren't
Yeah.
so much.
The younger
because
ones-
they're into more the newer
Yes.
cars.
Yes.
But unless they grew up with a parent that had the older Mopars, some have no interest in it. But it's nice to see the younger generation into the cars, because being over at the Dream Cruise in Ashland last year, a couple came up to us, and the young girl says, "I want a car just like this when I get older." She wants her dad to build her a car just like ours.
Yes.
And so when talking with her, and then the mother was with her, and then the dad came along later to talk to Tom about the car. So it's nice to know that there are some of the younger people that are interested in the older Mopars,
Yes.
as opposed to all the new.
And a lot of our members are in the age group where those 60s and 70s Mopars were what we drove. Now, we do have some members that are younger, but they also have cars and enjoy the cars, so that makes it nice.
But one thing I want to stress, like when we went to our first spring dust-off, and you mentioned this, Sharon, is that while a lot of us here at Mid-Ohio Mopars drive the older classic 60s and 70s Mopars, you, ma'am, were marveling at the moderns.
Yeah. lots of
And
nice
we
cars.
want to make sure that we don't think it's just the classics that
No,
matter.
Well,
Right.
and Tom and I going to Florida, you know, we go to car shows down there, and the first one we went to was down outside of Destin. And of course, it was the younger generation, but it was very interesting talking with them too. And then they asked Tom, you know, do you have a car? Of course, he told him about our car. Well, the guy bowed to Tom, you know. He said, well, it's good to know, but he said, we can afford the new car. We can't afford
Yes.
what you have.
And I heard that at that first spring dust-off too.
Yes, yes.
That's one thing. The older cars, late 60s, 70s, the parts are expensive, and I mean all the cars are expensive. I'm not saying like the new ones aren't, but it's expensive restoring a car, an older car, and finding a good one is getting harder and harder.
And if you have to pay someone to restore the car,
That takes
yeah.
major bucks.
yeah.
Yes. And the one gentleman actually has his car for sale. I saw it at Norwalk in September. A gentleman had a 64 Plymouth Fury 4-door. He's been at our show, the brown one. gorgeous car.
Yes.
But I hope people start thinking of that and maybe as a lower cost alternative to get you hot rodding. And that car was for sale. It had a big block in it, beautiful shape, and the way I look at it is, yes, you look at the outside, but when you open up the hood, the engine compartment's not any smaller, has the same stuff as the two doors. You sit into that car, you're looking out that same hood, you're looking at that same dashboard, you just got 2 extra doors to put the kids in.
Yeah.
So, and it'll go just as fast.
That makes it a little easier for a family, a four-door car, and you can pick up some estate cars, the older four-doors that are in super shape, and man, you can pull out the 6-cylinder 318 and drop a new Hemi in it. Man, you got a good car.
That's right.
It'll run.
Yeah, Gen 3 Hemi and everything.
That's right.
That's
It'll
right.
run.
Yeah, and when we were out at Carlisle, that young guy that had that old Plymouth,
Oh, yeah.
he had got from an estate sale. That car was absolutely perfect.
Oh, man, that was a nice
And
car.
he even had the manual. He had everything
All the
from
paperwork.
the old owner. And he put that with that car. And he really didn't have to do anything to this car.
Just clean her up.
Just beautiful.
Yes. Is there anything else we want to say? We're sort of going over some other stuff here about the club, highlighting it. Let's go over how, if people are in Ohio and would like to join, how would they do that?
Well, as Scott mentioned, our website is midohiomopars.us, and there are instructions on the home page there about the requirements to join the club. The requirement is you must attend 2 meetings and at least 1 event. So our car show or our swap meet would count as events, and you need to let someone at the registration desk know that you are at that event so that we can count that as one of your events. But the reason we ask that you attend 2 club meetings is so you can kind of get a feel for how the club operates, and we can get to know you a little bit better, and you can learn to know our members, so we if you want to join our club.
Yep.
But we've never turned anyone down over the years, so we've always we get good people. And I would like to mention one thing that we
Yes.
haven't covered yet. Every year, I think from the beginning of the club, we have made donations
Yes, that's right.
at Christmas time. So we take ideas from the membership as to where would be good places in the local area kind of to donate our money to. And we make sizable donations. We always have. So that's always nice that we can help, the needy, different charities, organizations. So that's just something else that the club has always done.
Yes, we do that because we don't have a meeting in December because this Christmas party we're at now takes the place of the meeting, as well as our fall picnic in September.
Right.
But we just don't give to the same 3 organizations.
Right.
Our membership brings up suggestions, as many as they want to take out, and then afterwards, then the membership decides which ones we give to.
Right.
And we gave to 6 different charities this year.
Correct.
So we gave for money. So
Yes.
we do that as a nonprofit, and so we've helped out a lot of different organizations. We've done that practically from year 1, haven't we?
I think we
Yes,
have, yes.
If not, it was really close.
Yeah, right.
So now the one thing I'd like to mention is like some car clubs like to get together for cruises, drive parties and like that. And I look at Mid-Ohio Mopars myself as a Mopar service club. Because while we don't do all the drive-ins or anything else like that, but we do work hard to put on a show and the swap meet, which to me makes us like a service club. So there's an event for people with Mopars can get together to. Am I correct on that?
Right. Well, we
Yes.
are have a presence at the cruise-ins around. I mean, down in Worcester, Orville, Ashland, and around. So
Right.
people can see
They know the
our
club.
cars and stuff.
Yep.
Yes.
And the
Know our
people.
club, yes.
Yes.
So
And actually, just like out at Sarchone, they were supposed to have that cars event, and talking with Phil out there.
and this was where again?
The one, the
Sarchone.
Sarchone out
Yeah.
at.
Yes. There was supposed to be a plan, just for the people listening that don't
Yes.
know. There was an event that a car dealership wanted us to at least help put on, but he didn't realize all the questions we asked, and so
And COVID hit them.
Well, but he was there for our swap meet. They had
Yes, he
quite a
was.
few
Yes.
vehicles, and he's still interested in doing something with our car club for a show event out at the dealership.
right. He was sort of overwhelmed by what it
I
took to
believe
put
he
it on.
was.
Right.
But
Right.
we weren't trying to discourage him. What we tried to do with our experience was to help him so it's not a flop for him.
And I think what happened is because they had the other show, was it at Rootstown? That was so overwhelming to them.
They had a show up at, oh, doggone it, where they have the Ford dealer and the Chevy dealer.
Oh, Randolph.
Rand, okay.
Yeah, they had a show up there.
And they were
And they
so
had 300
overwhelmed
cars.
by how many vehicles showed up for that when we called them, because some of our members showed up at Dalton, and they wondered where everybody was. So fortunately, I had his number and called him, and he said, well, we didn't put a flyer out. I said, I guess what you're gonna have to get used to about any event, if you even mention that you're gonna have some kind of a function, you better make it fly, because you're still gonna have people show up.
That's right.
Regardless if you have flyers or not.
Right.
He said, we'll have to remember that, but they really do want to get together with our club and do a show at their dealership, hopefully this coming year.
Yes.
So,
And so Sarchone just bought the old Haas Auto Mall, which is in Dalton between Worcester and Massillon, Ohio, right on US Route 30. And they've really grown that place big time.
they simply have.
In fact, as a personal note, Dalton was in this Division 7 high school championship. They were losing dearly, unfortunately. But their marquee, which they could have all kinds of sales, promotions, hours, or whatever, did not flash anything except Go Bulldogs. And that's all you saw en route. So people driving past, because Dalton is actually off a block, off the beaten path. But people driving that US 30, they knew Dalton Bulldogs, and that was thanks to that Sarchone marquee sign. So, is there anything else anybody wants to add that I might have missed?
I'm just excited about how many new members we've gotten this last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a real asset to our club.
Yep.
Yeah, so I hope that continues. Yes.
Okay. Well, like I said, and Carol said as well, if you'd like to join, it's Mid-OhioMopars.us. There's a page that tells you exactly what she said, what we would like. And dues are $20 per year for single, $30 for a married couple. And there's some perks with it as always. But we'd love to have you join if you're in the Ohio area. Yes, Carol.
The other thing that is on that homepage of our website is I post the dates for the monthly meetings, the dates and the times and the location. So that is always all out there, and you know where to go. And we generally meet the last Monday of the month, but if that Monday happens to fall on a holiday, then we pull it up 1 week. But as I said, those dates and times are all out there.
Now, here's one thing I would like to say, since I'm the social media director of Mid-Ohio Mopars. A lot of people love the pictures I take, of all the shows I go to, and I do a front-end shot at all the other car events I go to personally and put them on the pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But here's a little plug for our show. when you bring your Mopar to our show, you'll not only get the front end shot, if your hood's up, your engine will be, your trunk's up, your trunk area will be, your interior, front and rear shots, and each car gets its own post. It's not part of like a group of 20 pictures. Your car, no matter how many pictures I take, will be part of that. It'll have its own post on Facebook, its own post on Instagram, its own post on Twitter with a little narrative. And please keep your windows down if you can, because I don't want to be taking pictures of myself from the reflections of the glass when I do the interior. So, all right. Well, Carol Goodrich, Tom and Sharon Potter, thank you so much for joining me today here on the Mopar Podcast. I appreciate it very much. And next month, we'll highlight another club. And if you want to highlight a club, if you want your club highlighted, please let me know. Email me with your details. We can do an interview. You want me to narrate it? That's fine too. Email me at waltparpodcast@aol.com. Tom, Sharon, Carol, thanks again very much.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Did we do okay?
Hope you like that, ladies and gentlemen. That was my first time I did a Mopar Club Spotlight. I have 2 more lined up in the upcoming months. I'd like to include yours, like you heard me say. No matter where you are, we'll find a way to work it out. I've not learned how to do Zoom yet. I've learned how to record phone calls. Or if you want me to read a script from that you have, please let me know. Get in touch with me. Again, waltparpodcast@aol.com, or leave messages on the social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. I'd love to hear from you. I'd like to highlight your club, and we'll just take it from there. I also have been doing as a campaign to promote the club, to promote the podcast, is I have been writing to messaging mainly on Facebook pages of any Mopar club I could find for an event or anything. And I've been letting them know about the podcast and letting them know about the Club Spotlight as well. So I hope I can hear more from you. I've done at least 55 so far. I got a lot more to go, and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm just hoping that I can get your club spotlighted. Again, waltparpodcast@aol.com, or message me through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Threads. Now, it's time finally for the Mopar Event Calendar. I've got a lot more events I found out. If you have an all-Mopar event, please let me know about it at what I just told you, waltparpodcast@aol.com, or message me through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. I will make sure your event goes on all 4 of those sites. I did a listing once on my Facebook page of all that I had so far. I've even added some since then, and I'm going to go through the list now. Now, please keep in mind, this is in state, geographical, alphabetical order. So, and when I get to Ontario, that will be in alphabetical order as well. So, let's start off here, and I better quit saying the word so. Let's get started. In Alabama, April 26th and 27th, that's April 26th and 27th, 2024, Mopar is at the Battleship, benefiting Children's Hospital in New Orleans, Louisiana, and the Mulherron Home in Mobile, Alabama. This will be at the USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park in Mobile, Alabama. Hosting club is Big Easy Mopar Association. Find out more, bigeasymopar.org. June 7th and 8th, Coleman, spelled Cullman, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, presents Mopars by the Lake, located at Sportsman Lake Park in Coleman, Alabama. Hosting club is Pentastar South. For more information, call Robert, 256-734-1064, or Brenda, 256-590-2949. In Arizona, the 37th Annual High Energy Mopar Invitational Show, short for HEMI. So the High Energy Mopar Show, the 37th Annual, will be held at AutoNation Dodge near Interstate 17 at Bell Road in North Phoenix, Arizona. The hosting club is the Mopars Unlimited of Arizona. In Arkansas, June 22nd, 2024, the 3rd Annual Turpentine Creek Mopar Classic at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Show goes from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Go to tcmoparclassic.com. California, April 20th and 21st, 2024. Spring Fling 36, All Mopar Show and Parts Exchange, Woodley Park, Van Nuys, California. Hosting clubs, Southern California Mopar Car Club and the Chrysler Performance West Club. cpwclub.com for more information. In Connecticut, the 44th Annual Mopar Expo and Swap Meet at Papa's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in New Britain, Connecticut. Show goes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hosting club is Mopars in Motion. Contact Ralph, 860-416-1228. And the next one is in Florida. The next one in Connecticut is in September 22nd, 2024, the 16th Annual Innovators Show and Shine All Mopar Show at Artioli Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And this is in Enfield. That's Enfield, Enfield, Connecticut. Show goes on from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Hosting club, again, is Mopars in Motion, and also dial 860-416-1228 and ask for Ralph, and he'll be more than happy to give you more information. Now down to Florida. April 13th, 2024, the 14th Annual Mopars by the Lake, All Mopar Show and Swap Meet at Wallace Brooks Park in Inverness, Florida. Hosting club is the Citrus County Mopar Club. For more information, go to their Facebook page on more information in their flyer on this great show. May 10th and 11th, 2024, the 37th Annual Sunshine State Mopar Car Show and Swap Meet. This will be held at the Florida Horse Park in Ocala, Florida. Hosting the club is the Florida Mopar Association, floridamoparsociation.com for more information. In Illinois, February 11th, not that far away, Chicagoland Connection Swap Meet 2024 will be held at the Garage at Bettenhausen in Tinley Park, Illinois from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. Hosting club is Chicagoland Mopar Club. Go to their Facebook page, search Chicagoland Mopar Club, and that's the Mopar Connection. It's the Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more contact information. We've got some more events here from the Chicagoland Mopar Connection. On June 2nd, 2024, the Mopar Madness 2024 at Kazi Corner Hot Dogs, Beef, and Catering, located at 1250 75th Street in Downers Grove, Illinois. Again, the hosting club, Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page at Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more show information. The same is true to get more information on June 23rd, which will be the Mopars at the Park from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Fox Lake Veterans Memorial Park in Fox Lake, Illinois. Show entry fee is $20. Spectator admission is free. Again, the hosting club, Chicagoland Mopar Connection, Chicagoland Mopar Club on Facebook for more information. And here's another show they're doing. And there's actually one more they're going to do, and I'll get to that when I get to Iowa. But one more in Illinois. There's 3 different events, but all in one weekend. July 20th, the Midwest Charger Meet 2024. Also on July 20th, the Mopar Modern Muscle Meet will be held. And on July 21st, the Belvedere Mopar Happening 2024. All days, the event goes on from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Boone County Fairgrounds, Belvedere, Illinois. Hosting club again, Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page, Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more information on all of these events. In Indiana, the 29th Annual Chrysler Performance Trade Show and Parts Swap Meet, also known as the Indy Cylinder Head Show. This will be held in the Blue Ribbon and Champions Pavilions at the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Indiana. Each day it goes on from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. That's March 1st and 2nd, 2024. Also in Indiana, June 14th through the 16th, 2024, the National Hemi Owners Association Meet and Reunion will be held in Brownsburg, Indiana, near Indianapolis. I have no other information available at this time, but that date has been set. In Iowa, we're back with the Chicagoland Mopar Connection as they help put on Mopars on the Mississippi 2024, which will be held at the Dubuque County Fairgrounds in Dubuque, Iowa. It goes on from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Again, the hosting club is the Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page at Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more contact information. Louisiana, the Big Easy Mopar Show, benefiting Children's Hospital of New Orleans at the Frederick Seiger Civic Center. That's FREDRIC and then SIGUR Civic Center. Sorry if I said it wrong. It's in Chalmette, Louisiana. The hosting club, the Big Easy Mopar Association, bigeasymopar.org. And if you're in New Orleans in July 17th through the 21st, 2024. It's the 38th Annual National DeSoto Club Convention, which will be held in New Orleans, Louisiana. DeSoto.org or ORG is for more information. In Michigan, this one's coming up even sooner. I think it's the first event I have for the year. It is February 4th, 2024, the Walter P. Chrysler Club Great Lakes Region Annual Swap Meet, hosted by Roseville Moparts. This will be held at the Macomb Community College from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. in Warren, Michigan. Go to the Roseville Moparts Facebook page for more information. September 21st, 2024, the 13th Annual Michigan Mopar Muscle Club All Mopar Car Show and Swap Meet will be held from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Hub Stadium in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Hosting club is the Michigan Mopar Muscle Car Club, MichiganMoparMuscle.com for more information. In the state of Minnesota, May 31st through June 2nd, it's the Midwest Mopars in the Park Car Show and Swap Meet. This will be held at the Washington County Fairgrounds, Stillwater, Minnesota. The hosting club, Midwest Mopars. More information, midwestmopars.middletwin.com. Nebraska, July 21st, 2024, the second annual H&H Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram All Mopar Show held at their dealership in Papillon, Nebraska. Go to their Facebook and Instagram pages for more information. In North Carolina, the spring Mopars at the Rock will be at Rockingham Dragway in Rockingham, North Carolina. RockinghamDragway.com for more information. Their fall meet will be November 16th, 2024. Again, RockinghamDragway.com for more information. May 11th, 2024, the 38th Annual Piedmont Mopar Fun Run at Farmington Dragway in Mocksville, North Carolina. The hosting club is the Piedmont Mopar Club, PiedmontMopar.com in Ohio. And I know this list is going to grow as the months go by. February 24th, it's the annual Winter Classic Swap Meet and Cruise In at the Ohio Expo Center at the Ohio State Fairgrounds from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. in Columbus, Ohio. JeffJohnsonMotorsports.com is where you go for more information. April 13th, 2024, the Mopar Spring Dust-Off will be held at Quaker Steak and Lube in the Polaris Parkway Center in Columbus, Ohio. Hosting club, All Modern Mopars of Ohio. Go to Ammo Mopar Club on Facebook for more information. May 3rd and 4th, 2024, it's the annual Mid-Ohio Mopars All Mopar Swap Meet and Car Corral at the Wayne County Fairgrounds in Worcester, Ohio. Hosting club is the Mid-Ohio Mopars, MidOhioMopars.us for more information. And when it comes out, I'll have the copy of the flyer on all the Mid-Ohio Mopar social media sites as well. And we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads for Mid-Ohio Mopars as well. August 2nd through the 4th, Mopars at 42 at Dragway 42 in West Salem, Ohio. Dragway42.com for more information. August 9th through 11th, 2024, it's the 43rd Annual Nationals, what used to be called the Mopar Nationals, at National Trail Raceway in Kirkersville, Ohio, east of Columbus, Ohio, right on US 40. MoparNats.org is the website. September 19th through the 24th, 2024, the second annual World of Mopar will be held at Summit Motorsports Park at the drag strip in Norwalk, Ohio. Oklahoma, May 10th through the 12th, 2024, the fourth annual Southern Plains Mopar Fest, hosted by the city of Bristow, Oklahoma, and the Bristow, Oklahoma Historical Society. In, of course, Bristow, Oklahoma. Southern Plains Mopar Fest is the website to go to.com. SouthernPlainMoparFest.com. Ontario, Canada. One of the largest all-Mopar show in all of Canada, Mopar Fest, will be held on August 17th and 18th from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. each day at 251 Jacobs Street in New Hamburg, Ontario, Canada. MoparFest.com for more information. On August 24, 2024, the second annual Motor City Mopar Show will be held at Motor City Chrysler, it's a dealership, in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. The hosting club is the Windsor Area Mopar Muscle Club. More details, go to their Facebook page. In Oregon, August 4th, 39th Annual Woodburn Drag Strip Mopar Nationals at Woodburn Drag Strip in Woodburn, Oregon. This is a separate event from what's in Ohio, which has been the home of the Mopar Nationals. This is their Nationals. It's held at the Woodburn Drag Strip in Woodburn, Oregon. WoodburnDragStrip.com or call 541-746-4620. And finally, in the state of Pennsylvania, June 23rd, 2024, the All Mopar Show, hosted by the Lansdale Auto Group and Miss Mopar, from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Lansdale Auto Group in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. Registration opens up at 9 a.m. Go to allmoparshow.com for more information. Now, we got the Modern Street Hemi Shootout, but before I do that, I forgot to mention July 12th through the 14th is this year's Chrysler Carlisle Nationals at the Carlisle Fairgrounds in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. More information, carlisleevents.com. Now, the Modern Street Hemi Shootout Series, presented by Sipple Speed and Performance, has their 2024 schedule out. March 8th and 9th, 2024, the first stop will be held at Orlando Speed World Dragway in Orlando, Florida. April 5th and 6th, the second stop at Rockingham Dragway. It will be the same weekend as their spring Mopar show. And the third stop will be at June 22nd, 2024 at Cecil County Dragway in Rising Sun, Maryland. And the fourth stop will be at part of the Woodward Dream Cruise weekend in Detroit, Michigan. Now, I have here, I'm not sure if this is actually official or not, October 19th and 20th, 18th and 19th, 2024. And before that was August 16th and 17th in Michigan. The Modern Street Hemi Shootout finishes up at Maryland International Raceway, Mechanicsville, Maryland. For all information on those Modern Street Hemi Shootout, I'll get it straight yet, please go to hemirace.com. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today on the Mopar Podcast. I really do appreciate it very, very much. Also got to give thanks to David Zatz and the Beard Patrick Rawl and Jim Benjaminson of StillPower.com, Robert S. Miller and Jared B. of MoparInsiders.com, Ron and Glon, Zach Palmer, Jonathan Ramsey, Chris Teague of Autoblog.com, the Associated Press, Reuters, NHRA.com, Mopar Collector's Guide, and Carol Goodrich and Tom and Sharon Potter of Mid-Ohio Mopars for their contributions in today's episode number 4. I'm in the middle of the message campaign, as I said earlier, and I'm trying my best to get the word out. You know, I've done over 55 messages so far to car clubs out there, but I still need your help. So please, I can still use your help. Please tell your fellow Mopar fans, lovers, and enthusiasts about the Mopar Podcast. I would appreciate it very much if you give me a top rating wherever you listen to this podcast. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, you can email me at waltparpodcast@aol.com. That's WALTPAR podcast@aol.com. You can snail mail me, P.O. Box 455, Apple Creek, Ohio. That's 2 words, Apple Creek, Ohio, 44606. Or you can find me on social media again at Facebook, Instagram, X, which used to be Twitter, and on Threads. Search Waltpar Podcast. And don't forget to check out the Mopar-related podcasts that are out there. The Dodge Pod with Alan Napier and Humberto Ortiz. They just put a new podcast out on January 1st, so make sure you listen to that. More good stuff about first-gen diesels. They'll talk anything on trucks if you give them any suggestions, but they mainly talk about the first-gen diesels, and some great information is always on that for that, but they do talk trucks, all different trucks. Just let them know. There's the T-N-T podcast with Tara Graves and Tina Bogus. And I say it that way because it's easier to search if you're trying to find them, to save them, to listen to their podcasts. And Chris Albrecht of Talking Mopars, who brings out the best Mopar podcast on planet Earth. The Mopar hunter himself, Chris Albrecht, just put out a small podcast on the Viper. He just put that out today, January 15th, 2024. So please make sure you give him a listen to that. And I want to thank all of you so much for listening. I hope you'll join me here next time for the next episode of the Waltpar Podcast. And to conclude, uniting all generations and types of Mopar fans, lovers, enthusiasts everywhere. Thank you again for listening. And as Mike Bonadonna of the Citrus County, Florida, USA Mopar Club always says in their newsletter, keep those highways beautiful. Drive your Mopars. Take care, everybody. We'll see ya.